Previously in X-Men. As the team attempts to rescue Madeline Pryor from the island nation of Genosha, the X-Men discover that the country uses mutants as slaves to build and maintain their infrastructure. While being held prisoner, Rogue is violently assaulted and emotionally shattered, so much so that the dormant persona of Carol Danvers, known to modern readers as Captain Marvel, takes over, escapes, and goes on the run with the weakened Wolverine. I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanigan.
And we are a group of 7 comics. Welcome to episode 175 of our ongoing live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 237 by writer Chris Claremont, penciler Rick Leonardi, and X-Men alum extraordinaire inker Terry Austin. Cover date early November 1988. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. 175, eh? Wow.
That's what happens.
It's a number. I feel like we should be doing like a some kind of like municipal celebration. 175, like some kind of, there's like a jamboree of some kind.
No, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're well. We did a pre-tape episode last week.
Sure did.
And it aired a little later. I was really struggling to get that thing processed by my computer in a timely fashion. Just getting that video. There's a lot of video content to get that thing like processed by my little Mac here and then up on time. Totally dropped the ball on that. It took multiple attempts at rebooting my computer. Big mess. Either way, it got up last week by I think near 11 o'clock. And oh my goodness, did we get way more views in it than I was expecting. And I have a hunch it was connected to that title that went with it.
What was the title?
I've already did they go too far? Something along those lines. Those open-ended, possibly provocative titles, a little clickbaity. I dislike that as a way for me to find content, but I understand it makes a huge difference in how other people find content. So I might have to lean into that a tiny bit without me myself going too far.
Yeah, is it it's not our most watched video, is it? But it might be
it's
up there.
Way up there. I mean, definitely within a 7-day period, it by far is.
Right, which is... interesting to say the least.
It's worth noting. And also a bunch of new subscribers came on board, around 10 for that one episode, which for us, again,
is a lot for us. Yeah.
So everyone, welcome. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We're really happy that you could be here. As we said, Jason and Chris over there, that way. We are the writer and artist team of Group of 7 Comics. And we've got a couple trade paperbacks out. You can find it on our website at group7comics.ca. So we hope to bring in new people. We hope you enjoy the channel and the content there. And if you feel like supporting, you can get our books on our website, which is always good to get into some business. In the chat, I see Michael is here. Michael, how are you doing? Mass, I watched your episode. By the way, hello. Hope you're well. I watched your episode on By the Wayside, which was lovely. Jordan is always a fun personality to hang out with. I hope you enjoyed making that with him. It was interesting and entertaining to watch. Now, Skatasonic says, you're on the second to last issue in my collection.
You best be buying more comics.
Or not. I mean, to each their own.
They can continue on.
Would that mean the last one is that one? That's, of course, next week. We'll get to that. David Cutler says, hello, Exy boys. I made an attempt at the YouTube thing once, and my most watched episode had the gag title, Should Zootopia Be Rated R? You know what? That is partially how things work out on the internet. And
the answer, of course, is yes.
Those are some pretty attractive animated animals. Not at all.
Hey, it's just me, or did Zootopia kind of like really fly under the radar when it came out? I had kids who would be in that age zone, and it felt it kind of happened, and they kind of discovered it later.
It didn't. Again, depends, I guess, how plugged in one is in certain circles. in my community, we went with the kids to our local theater for a birthday party of our neighbor.
Yeah.
So our whole little community was there. The movie hit with everyone in the theater. When we were there, my kids enjoyed it. Laura and I enjoyed it. And moving on. By that point, I was already a little Disney cartooned out.
Was it the first? Okay, sorry, just because this does kind of fascinate me a little bit.
Okay, I'm not going to have a good answer.
In a sequence, was it like Pixar, Zootopia? Pixar. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is that what it was? It wasn't done by Pixar? It was like it was the original?
It was a Disney movie.
Okay, maybe that's
and I lean towards Disney Pixar, but lean towards Pixar.
Right.
Either way.
It had that string of hits. I mean, it was just like one every year. Every year was big.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Should we rephrase the title of this video?
David, look what you did to us.
Deep dive.
Next time I see you. Yeah. Talking about some X-Men comics, I was at a couple comic stores and picked up some relevant things.
Oh, okay.
Just for some back issues I didn't already have. This is the one where Angel gets his wings clipped. Walt Simonson on art. Yes. Picked that one up today. Had this one as a kid. One of the rare series of comics that I let go of as a youngster, but got that one back today.
Nice.
And the issue after it.
Okay. Well, that's a good cover. It looks like a good cover.
Yeah, it's fun. Hey, Anthony, how are you? And then one a little bit later. David says, I loved watching previously in Zootopia Boys. Kid Sonic says that is so tragic. Hey, remind me, these two X Factors by Arthur Adams on art. Did I get these or like point you at these?
You're talking to me?
Yeah, man. Did I point you at these when we were in Deep River or something? Did I find these in the dollar bin and get them?
Not for me.
Hands?
No, that show you bequeathed me the X-Force with Mignola on interiors.
So I got you two Arthur Adams X Factor issues. Beautiful.
I'm gonna get them signed at Fan Expo.
Hey, why not? Picked up a New Mutants issue with the Barry Windsor Smith cover.
Oh, that's cool. Right.
Yeah. But then I was talking last episode about having to track down those Inferno issues.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I did actually come across 3 of them.
Okay.
So I picked up those and the last issue of Marvel Team Up, which again is Barry Windsor Smith on cover.
I was going to say
the X-Men.
Yeah, very, very noticeably BW.
Yeah. So the interior art is not Barry Windsor Smith, but it's the last Marvel Team Up. It's X-Men. It's of that time period that you and I love. Just after Paul Smith, kind of,
Yeah.
John Romita Jr., weird look for Colossus, but I always kind of wanted that in my collection in some way. And it's kind of a strange pose for Spider-Man. You don't usually see that for him.
No.
Reminds me a little bit of Japanese Spider-Man from the TV show. There's something, some body language in that reminds me of that. Joel Art says, I definitely like your channels. I almost had Chris Claremont entire run Uncanny X-Men. It got stolen. Oh no!
Sorry.
Watching you read and going through his run, started to recollect that run. I'm sorry your collection got stolen. That's heartbreaking. That's something really tough to have to deal with, and it is really, really fun to be able to share this with people who might not otherwise have access, because some of these books are completely cost prohibitive. And we are so lucky that the content we're sharing, generally speaking, is scanned from the original pages. It is not the digital versions that you would get on the Marvel app, but instead it is on a DVD-ROM, and they are the scanned pages from newsprint. So they're kind of special, and if we're not going to do anything else with it, then what would be the point of having it? So sharing it with you all is a wonderful treat for us. So you're welcome to share. You're welcome that we get to share that with you, and I'm glad you appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. What was I about to say? We were talking about this.
We were.
If you haven't already, please click like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way to helping us find more people to share time with. So we greatly appreciate that. Please continue. It would be huge help. So thank you.
And on that note, I can say shout out to new subscribers: Burns Ray, Darren Haskins, Shane Granger, Eric Moir, okay, pronounced that right, and Stephen Awala. So hey, thanks everybody, appreciate that. Yeah, we're up to 425.
Yeah, man.
On the way to 500.
We're on the way. I'm very excited about that. And do we have to mention this now? I guess we could.
Yeah, it's our
Thank you again. New book is out there. You can get it on our site, of course, group7comics.ca. Peregrines, Flights, Fiends, and Fisticuffs. It is the cure for a boring day. It is the cure for a frowny face. It is also, for me, the cure for perfectionism. Get to work on some comics, get my hands dirty without having to even come near trying to be perfect. So it's a really good mental health book for this guy right here.
It's also the cure to Group of Seven Most Secret Tales Depeche Mode.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's saying cure so much that I want to make sure that we're recognizing some of the great musical bands of the.
Sure.
I
hear you, man. Let's get into this a little bit.
We could.
Oh, you have anything else you want to talk about before we get into it?
Oh, no, but we could get into it.
I do not like so much about this.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with the cover. I'm coming in a little hot today. I dislike so much about this cover.
Okay.
Mostly it's the colors. The idea, I don't know who colored it. I'm assuming it's not. It doesn't feel like a Glynis Wein color job because the background and the foreground are the exact same color. It's that blue, right? Mm-hmm. It's like 100% cyan. What's the point? What's the point? We don't usually see X-Men covers to not be able to tell apart the foreground and the background. So I find that to be a really bad choice. I know that they're supposed to be wearing a uniform. So Wolverine and Rogue should be dressed the same. But I'm cool with having them in different colors in a military palette for the sake of differentiation. But my other kind of beef with this cover is I don't understand what the light sources are. There is something that is illuminating Wolverine's nails and not the rest of his fingers.
Right.
That's bonkers for me. There is a light color, like an orange, on the inside of Wolverine's right arm. But I don't know what would be illuminating that while having his face be... obviously they're passing under lights as they go.
Yeah, that's there.
So that means that some parts of them should be in the spotlight from those lights. Some parts should be moonlit or that nighttime look. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like the colorist did not manage to do double lighting in a way that represented the mood and the setting that the characters are actually in. That really warm orange that's on the bottom of Rogue's right arm and the inside of Wolverine's right arm. It is actually... when you grayscale this cover, it's a darker tone than their skin. So they're not illuminated. It's actually, they've been darkened by orange. It's just a weird coloring choice, and I don't find it effective at all. I love the idea of the characters on top of a train struggling, but I don't know how well this was communicated. Like, because the color is the same between the ground and the train, it looks like the edge of the train, where the tracks kind of start, is the same level as the ground. Mm-hmm. So I don't really get a sense that this is a big round train. There needs to be a gap between, or some black or something that differentiates the train from the structure beside the ground, or beside the tracks. It's just weird, dude.
I also think that given I froze for a second. Given that Leonardi does this cover and does the interior art, right? Rick Leonardi, and we're so used to him being a pinch hitter for X-Men comics, every 10th, 12th issue. And we were actually talking a couple issues ago, actually, we find it quite refreshing sometimes when we, move to the next comic and there's a bit of Leonardi there. Because there's a lot that he does that we like. So interestingly, though, for me personally, the previous one was Silvestri and before that was Leonardi. Feels like too much Leonardi, like 2 out of 3. Like I actually went from Silvestri and that amazing big game hunting cover from the last issue, which is you and I both really were fans of. To this, it was just it felt kind of jarring in the wrong way.
Right. So spoilers, the next issue is back to Silvestri.
Okay, 1, 2,
So
1, 2.
we've got this where it's now coming out twice a month, and we have an A team and a B team. And Silvestri is the A team, arguably, and Leonardi is the B team. So issues of this Genosha story, of the 4 issues, 1 and 3 are Leonardi, and 2 and 4 are Silvestri.
Okay, then.
So we are in issue 3 of 4. I know it does kind of spoil. We're not going to get closure in this issue. I shouldn't have put that out there yet, but I did. So we'll all cope.
We will manage.
Note here, of course, like I mentioned before, guest inker and inker extraordinaire Terry Austin. Put that out there. Austin over Byrne, magic. Austin over Leonardi. Let's take a look. We'll see if we like the way Leonardi's pencils look, embellished or rendered by Terry Austin. I have my feelings. We'll see if you have any about this. It also might not be something that people necessarily care one way or the other. I might just be the only one who has a passionate feeling about this. We shall see. You and I have related this as well. Joel says, I love this issue. Rogue is my favorite character. I love when her and Wolverine team up. Circa Uncanny X-Men 173. Seconded. There you go.
Read.
And Joel also continues to say, picked up 60 issues from the comic store, going to the comic store for the past month every week. Oh my goodness.
Hey, support your local comic book store.
Yeah, you've been going. Wow. That's all. Every week, it's a lot of comics. I hope you're enjoying them and getting some satisfaction. It's a lot of fun. Matt says, you beat me to it. I thought I was alternating art, or I thought it was alternating art because of the frequency. Yeah, I imagine they were doing that because they doubled up. Cicada Sonic says, I'm in the minority, but I've always preferred Leonardi over Silvestri. Hey, man. Again, like this is where like that personal thing comes in, where the penciler is so much of a storyteller for how we interpret this medium. So I don't think it's crazy, of course, to prefer one over the other. It is definitely against like the tidal wave of Image fans, right? Like Silvestri became a superstar artist, so it just goes against like pop culture, but it doesn't mean it's the wrong. It totally makes sense to me. I've gravitated to a lot of Leonardi pieces that really stayed in my mind for decades, and Silvestri too, for that matter. So, yeah, prefer what you prefer. That's part of the fun of it, I think. I think you agree, don't you, Chris?
You think so? But no, I don't.
All right, let's dive into this bad boy here.
All right.
Should we discuss what happened last issue a little bit, or I don't know if we need to. There just was a very. Yeah, we can keep moving on. We'll move on.
Okay.
G.I. Joe. Got to talk about G.I. Joe as always.
Yeah, we can talk about G.I. Joe.
That Cobra Hiss tank is just one of the most cool and original, unorthodox designs for a tank, and I love it every time I see it. And I want to play with it.
But not that recon sled.
That toy sucked bag. I loved Bazooka.
Sure.
I still do love Bazooka. The fridge is bonkers. Major Blood. I mean, it's funny because these are from like different time periods.
Right.
But the logo where it's been like 3Dified with some airbrushing, that logo is the 1986 movie version. Is it 87? But Bazooka is an 85 character and Major Blood is an 83 character. So I don't know what's going on here, dude. I don't know. All right. Stanley presents Who's Human? Or as you Americans say, Who's Human? Starring the Uncanny X-Men. The Indian Ocean, east of Africa, just north of the Seychelles Islands.
Magistrate Command for Air 1. Fugitives refuse to answer our hails. And according to our sensors, their vehicle is empty?
I like these Sky Cycle things. They're cool.
I do too.
I was just reading some Kirby, some, from the Galactus trilogy era. And
okay.
Mr. Fantastic is, flying on like a sky cycle, and it's just the inventive use of sort of different shapes to make these interesting looking things, and it reminds me a little bit of that. But I can imagine being on the back of one of these with a pilot, and you've got no hands for stability. Pilot's got 2 hands on the handlebars.
Yeah.
You got 2 hands on a rifle, and you're just gripping with your thighs.
That's right. I think, just maybe picked up on something with Leonardi's approach, is that he seems to be very accomplished at spherical design.
Sure.
I think, when I think of the other comics we've examined with Leonardi, I think this splash page, I think, really kind of brings it forward. There's so much spherical artwork on this, a lot of curves. And I think that's one of his strengths.
I hear you. It's neat. Definitely, he likes those rounded shapes.
Mm-hmm.
As did Dave Cockrum when he was working on X-Men.
Oh, Dave Cockrum. Good old Davey C.
Credits are there, of course. You mentioned Claremont on writing, Rick Leonardi, penciler, Terry Austin, inker, Tom Morzakowski and Glynis Oliver are our usual letterer and colorist. Bob Harris is still editor. He's been that way since they booted out Ann Nesenti, or she moved over to write Daredevil, I guess. And Tom DeFalco is editor-in-chief. We did not mention the last time, of course, longtime Marvel editor-in-chief Jim Shooter passed a few days back.
In the past week.
We could definitely spend an entire show just talking about the contributions Jim Shooter made to the Marvel brand. But specifically, we can just briefly mention comes on X-Men once it's already rolling, and really just every series you love in the 80s, or let me rephrase. Every series that I love has a peak in the 80s that you can credit to being on his watch, whether it's the greatness of Uncanny X-Men, whether it's multiple monumental runs on Daredevil, whether it is Simonson's Thor, whether it's Craven's Last Hunt and Spider-Man. Series after series gets its peak, or a generational peak, under Jim Shooter's watchful eye, and I don't think it's coincidence. There you go. Rest in peace, Jim Shooter.
Current course and speed will bring fugitives into Seychelles airspace in 7 minutes. Query from their traffic control: do we require assistance?
Are you this woman character, like the chief magistrate? I think you were you not, or was I?
Is she back? It is back to being her. Yeah, I was her. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank them politely, magistrate. We'll handle this ourselves.
Since these mutants are invisible to our scanners, Chief, your interceptors will have to board the air car and see for themselves if they're there.
That's a risky proposition, Dr. Moreau, at the best of times.
I thought that came with the job.
I won't hazard my people's lives needlessly.
If the prisoners hadn't escaped in the first place, it wouldn't be necessary. They're over international waters. That's as far as we can afford to let them go.
I know my duty, Engineer. But it would be easier if you weren't set on taking them alive.
I have my reasons.
Turn them back, Mallow.
No response to my warning shots, Chief.
Sorry, Mallow. You'll have to do it the hard way. First name Marsh.
Oh, joy. I do so love to play the hero. Before we go further, sure. I love some of these names that are coming up now. So Mallow is the first of a few fun names.
Right.
I don't know if there's a reference to something or not. But this is an example of some Terry Austin-ness over Leonardi. So if we look at the chief magistrate's face as the monitor is illuminating her from below, he draws all these lines all over. And it reminds me of an Art Adams drawing a little bit.
Okay. Not
the proportions, but the rendering reminds me of Art Adams. But then, like, you get some weird things where, let's say, behind the Engineer on that same panel, you get crosshatch on his, like, behind his right ear, but you get black spotting behind his left ear. And that's for a reason, I guess, but one is distracting and the other one is not. So just one note about technique. Austin is well known for being a guy who uses pen, whereas Dan Green, who usually inks, has a much more organic flowing brush style. And I think there are some, energetic and loose pencils from Leonardi that works well with Dan Green. I think there's some loose and energetic pencils from Silvestri that work well with Dan Green. Austin is tight and he has very precise lines. So how he would interpret the pencil lines from Leonardi are different than the way Dan Green would. Mm-hmm. And that face is just an example of it to me, where they look different.
Mm-hmm.
Joel says, the Gene Engineer looks like Cameron Hodge in that page. For sure. Keeping in mind, Cameron Hodge has been limited to being a liaison, an administrator over an X Factor. The idea of evil Cameron Hodge has not yet appeared in X-Men and won't for a little while. So it might just be that we're having... maybe this influences the way future artists draw Cameron Hodge down the road. Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah, Jason Jose says, I think there was a template for a crusty old fart. Yeah, and also like middle-aged white guy in glasses. That might be, right? That might be the thing. No offense, Chris.
What? I'm going to take it.
Of course, I wouldn't take offense to that. like, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, it doesn't apply to me, but yeah.
No, not us.
Right, no. Wish me luck, Chief. I'm off. I'm on. Barely. Slipstream's murder. Opening the hatch now. Are they armed? Will they shoot? Can't draw my own gun. Need both hands. Just to keep holy.
Relax, Malo. I gotcha. De Kooning, take up position below in case his safety line breaks. Holy mother, that was close.
No fooling, Charlie. Relay this.
Charlie, Malo, de Kooning.
Yes, so specific.
Okay.
So if anyone out there knows these names from a certain thing, like are they from a book? I have no idea. I didn't look into it. I love these 4 panels. The character stepping off, Mullet's stepping off and going on, grabbing onto the other ship, and then it blowing up. It looks really good, and I love the smoke. I think it looks really cool too. Good action page. I'm into it.
Totally. Who's that? Is that you? Is that me?
No, that's you. You're the pilot.
Chief, Malo says the car was empty. The engine was rigged to blow the moment anyone tried to go inside. Malo's okay, just royally scared and royally ticked off. Return to base, Magistrate. Commendations all around. You did well.
Perhaps from your perspective, Chief, I see this fiasco a trifle less charitably.
I'm sure you do. Of course, this means they're still in Genosha. That's good. However, Magistrate, AR cars possess fail-safe systems designed specifically to prevent this sort of theft. Yet our 2G fugitives bypassed them with ridiculous ease. The escape from Citadel was impressive enough, but this as well, especially after having been stripped of their superpowers by Wipeout.
It means we're dealing with exceptional people.
There it is. Nice reading of that.
Thank you.
That goes without saying. In addition, though, I suspect these are trained intelligence operatives.
5!
Which in turn raises the possibility that some foreign power is attempting to learn Genosha's secrets.
That makes it all the more imperative, Chief Magistrate, that we find the fugitives. We need to learn who they are and where they're from. And, most important, why they can't be scanned or monitored.
It's almost as though we're dealing with a pair of ghosts.
Here are the results of the medical tests on the escaped prisoners, Gene Engineer. Sorry for the delay, sir, but we had to do the work by hand. None of the electronic analyzers would register the samples, and every time we try to process data into our computers, the file erased itself.
A virus program? We can't even keep records of them.
Fortune favors us, my friend.
That'll make a pleasant change.
At least, insofar as the man is concerned.
Mhm.
His hemoglobin count is abnormally low. Perhaps some facet of his power compensated for it. As things stand now, his system simply isn't producing sufficient red corpuscles to sustain his life. So that would mean that maybe when he's referring to Wolverine, that when Wolverine doesn't have his healing factor, without his abilities, he is not a healthy person.
Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting thought.
Well, and that was kind of played out in Wolverine's origin, written 20 years later, or whatever number it was, by Bill Jemis, or whoever else worked on that in Origin, or whatever it was called, Wolverine Origins. And he's like a sickly kid until his mutant powers kick in. He's like the kid who has to stay up in his room, in those period pieces,
sure,
where he has like tuberculosis all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like isolated.
Yes, he is that kid, and the only person who talks to him is the redheaded girl who's around the house named Rose, who is his emotional template for Jean Grey in that version. So he's a sickly little kid. I wonder if that is at all what Claremont was even talking about, or it was just they wanted to have, or if this was a plot device for this story to have Wolverine weakened, just to add stakes. It might not have been there to describe who he is underneath his mutant powers. It might have just been there as a plot device for the story.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Mass is saying, Bill Jemis, Joe Q, and Paul Jenkins, I believe. Joe Q, he's doing covers with Richard Eisenhoff. And maybe he's part of the plotting as well. Paul Jenkins, man, I'm not remembering well. One of the Kubrick brothers is on pencils, and yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
I love when Chris reads Nightcrawler's parts of the book. Aw, there you go, Chris.
Hey, thanks.
That's awesome. Some talk about the Freedom Stick. You ready?
The Freedom Stick.
Matters to You says that Freedom Stick is a flagrant misnomer. Instilling a sense of freedom is making the controller smaller and more compact, like the Wii. One-handed. Yes, this was more like a lack of immobility concrete base. Joel also says, I love how you guys read the books with the voices every time. Every time I read the comics, I picture the characters from the X-Men animated series voices. Yeah, I try. I mean, we're having some fun with it, and with all these supporting characters, we really get to run, like all these extras, kind of run left and right and just make ourselves laugh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I really should have led with this. This would have been the positive thing, and I might have to change the camera view. Right away, does this image mean anything to you?
You're talking about the M&M image?
No, the news reporter.
It's not connected.
Okay. I'm just reaching back and getting a different book. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, so old. Don't want to move. Oh.
So not the super cool M&M skateboarder.
I'm sure it'll pop up in the chat as I'm doing this. David says, Jason is my favorite Wolverine actor. Thank you. That is silly and kind. And I also am my favorite Wolverine actor. All right. I'm going to just go early on in this.
Okay.
Matashi says, has a Sally Jesse Raphael vibe. Love the news reporter's hair. Okay, dude. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's change the view. We're going to go with this. Hello, everybody. I'm Jason from
That is a view change.
This is my 10th anniversary edition of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. And for anyone who knows, there is the news reporter.
Oh.
With that hairstyle.
There's that hair.
Without a doubt, this is referencing this news reporter, which means Dark Knight Returns and this issue of X-Men are in the same universe. Or we could be a little bit more fun about it. this news reporter, she's a multiverse character, and she is in both worlds. So she has these interesting graphic earrings, these shapes. She has that fun angled hair. She is like a character that runs throughout The Dark Knight Returns.
Oh my goodness.
Anyone who has regularly read The Dark Knight Returns would have come across this character and had a laugh when you come across it. It's even colored with red hair. So it's not like up for question that it is the same. It's referencing that. Here's the part that is also referencing the page layout. So having these 4 panels, this is like a Frank Miller. One of his pitches, one of his layouts is to have like the words and these images. He has a 16 panel grid in Dark Knight Returns. So he would do 4 TVs or 4 sets of words, 4 tiers. So it makes a grid of 16. But here's the ridiculous part of this one, the poor execution. The letterist, who is great, puts it in 3 when the TV monitors are clearly in 4. So we're supposed to read the top tier as 1 unit. We're supposed to read her speech as it's planned. Then we read these 3 things underneath over top of 4 different panels.
Right.
So it conflicts in terms of how it's being applied. It's like just an underthinking about this as a page layout. And perhaps they tried it the other way and got feedback to stop doing that Miller thing. But it is so clearly already a Miller homage that it's sort of funny.
I do love that, though, when creators do that. They're able to kind of, show some love, show some whatever to to their colleagues. I think
yes. So Miller is a hugely influential creator on the Image Boys, and they all use his TV, like that trope of this TV reporter across all of their comics. So as you read like Gen 1 Image stuff, you'll see a lot of her and other sort of similar things from Miller's playbook from The Dark Knight Returns.
Cool.
Yo, Allie, what's up? Happy Tuesday, all you awesome nerds, she says. I didn't get the notification for this one, and I was checking. It did go out a little later. It probably went out maybe after 7:30, close to 8 o'clock. So next time, I'll do better. I'll keep pushing. She continues, I love that there is the same news reporter. I thought she looked familiar, but never made that connection. McFarlane does some of the same stuff too. Black Spider's the same. For sure. Ali says, I'm going to guess whatever change brought on Purple Crowns in the live chat has a hand in this. Purple Crowns in the live chat? I don't even see that. I come from the land of conspiracies theories, though. Do you know anything about the Purple Crowns, Chris?
Is it a Philadelphia thing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
David says Image Comics Gen 1 through Gen 13. Yuck. Yeah, dude. I set you up. You're welcome. Is that Michael J. Fox in that Eminem ad? No. It is officially not Michael J. Fox, but is it Michael J. Fox adjacent? Sure. Huh. Now, of course, I've cut off my own momentum here. So the dude who's not Cameron Hodge, the engineer, is saying about Wolverine, his system simply isn't producing sufficient red corpuscles to sustain his life.
Right.
A matter of days maximum. That's all he has left.
Okay, here we go. Genosha, our green and pleasant land, an informatape brought to you by this Ministry of Public Information. Ours is an island located off the East African coast, midway between Madagascar and the Seychelles, used originally and for centuries as a haven for Indian Ocean corsairs and rumored to be the destination of one of Sinbad the Sailor's legendary voyages. It was settled during the great ages of exploration. The supernatural anchorage at Hammer Bay formed the foundation of our commerce, and trade was our initial source of wealth until the discovery of iron ore and other precious metals in the Ridgeback Mountains. Iron, which is processed into the finest steel available on Earth, with an absolute minimum of pollution and at a cost that cannot be beat. Over the years, Genosha has built an economy and society that is the envy of the world. There's no poverty here, no hardship, with unparalleled opportunities for education and employment. Ours is a free land where people are judged by deeds and character, not the color of their skin.
Oh my God. So this is supposed to be read while looking at these 4 different images, but they don't really connect in terms of like the flow. You know what I mean?
No, they don't. Because you read all that and then you look at the panels and you're like, wait, what? Right.
Yes.
It doesn't.
By the way, great job.
Oh,
thanks.
Thanks.
That was really, really good.
Thanks.
I love where you pulled that character from. You know, she's the hologram that pops up as you leave the terminal at the airport, as you're like entering into, you know, past customs and you're in the new land.
That's
like
right.
She is that info hologram for sure. Like that was really, really good. And we really needed this info dump. Like we've been talking about it now for a few issues where we wanted to know where is this place? How have we not heard of it before? What accent are these people going to have? You know, it sounds so weird to have this fictional place, and like I want to know who colonized it. Like which European nation colonized this?
Right.
Because it's going to influence, of course, the accents and just for in this weird alternate world of Marvel 616. Like, yeah, it's colonized. But anyway. Ali says, did we get rude comment? Do we get to rude comments, ruder hands? I don't know. What's going on? I have no idea. I have not spotted any rude comments on my side of things, but
oh no, wait. Is Ali mentioning the previous comment? The comic? Rude comments, ruder hands? Is that with the rogue?
I don't know.
Assault? Is that what that is? Or maybe we haven't got there yet.
I
thought it sounds that sequence of words sounds familiar.
Oh, it's a line in the comment.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
Sorry. No. My apologies. No, I'm busy. Like now I'm losing my my focus here. It also could be the honey brown lager. it's making me lose my focus.
Now there's a lager I haven't heard of in a long time.
It's one of the things that comes up in my summertime through my cousin Jer.
Honey brown, like a Sleeman's honey brown lager?
Oh yeah, dude.
Wow, that is definitely a beer that I haven't heard in a long time.
It is something that I get to drink in the summers when I'm with Jeremy, because his family buys it a lot for their cottage. And I happened to be at the beer store last week and bought myself a case because I'm in a summertime kind of mood.
Well, originally brewed in Guelph, Ontario, right?
See, I was thinking that. So that's beautiful.
So there you go.
I did have a really other focused thought that I've been that escaped me that I wanted to talk about. Oh yes.
Okay.
The cartoon. Remind me at the end of this to talk about the animated series, because I watched the episodes that were on Genosha.
Oh, okay.
To remind myself what was going on. Okay. So, there we go. Joel says Genosha, like South Africa, during when it went through apartheid. Yeah, but it was already at that point had been colonized like 3 times by the Dutch, the British, and so on, and the Dutch again, and the British again. So that's a real mix there. And Jason Jose says Dutch East India Company, then the French, then UK. Sure, like this is all. I would love to know what the story actually is, but I don't know if Claremont ever took it that far. Sounds wonderful, sweetheart. Pity it's a crock.
Our industrial base is currently diversifying into computer sciences and space technology, putting Genosha in the forefront of those nations racing eagerly towards the 21st century. And we are as self-sufficient in agriculture, with farmland so bountiful that one day may challenge America's Midwest for the title Breadbasket to the World.
Allie says, that's ironic. I just rewatched 97 for the first time since it was released last year. I needed some time. Yeah, after the events in that, it was a pretty emotional one and absolutely worth the rewatch. What a fun show. Even the stuff that's dark.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think this show is? Like, he's walking past the TV in like a TV store, right? We used to have these
stores that sold TVs.
Stores that sold TVs, and you'd be able to go by a window and see a bunch of TVs for sale. They're all on, playing a channel and characters in comics and TV shows. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What you got to do. Characters in comics, TV shows, and movies would be walking by a wall of TVs at the TV and stereo store, and you could like follow the news or whatever big things that were happening, because as a plot device, not based in reality, but as a plot device for stories, as a way to get communication out to characters who are out and about, or as you would like me to say, oot and about. They would always go by these shops because there isn't always a Times Square in every place, and characters were not all on their phones like they would be today, getting a social media notification or seeing a reel on whatever app they're using. So it was like in place of that public access to a monitor. So either they're in a bar, hey Josie, turn that TV up. What are they saying on channel 3? Like it's that moment.
It's communal, and it's also maybe reflective too of like, obviously the models have evolved so much, but at the time too, like not everyone having access to cable. If they even had a TV, they had maybe 1 or 2 channels, and this is like, turn that up, check it out. What's happening in the world, and everyone just goes quiet and listens.
And if you go a generation earlier or two, it's the newsboy. Extra.
And even in between those would be the newsreel at the movie cinema.
Sure. That's good. Just trying to follow the chat here. What's going on? David says, were TVs in shop windows not a real thing? They were. They absolutely were. I assume they went away because they were too easy to smash and grab after hours. They were a real thing. It did not coincide with news breaking in real life. Like if you were living in an urban area, you wouldn't walk by when the thing that happens on the news that you needed to hear happens exactly in that moment. It's just really overplayed in fiction for that.
Yeah, it's such a great narrative device. It's an overplayed narrative device to bring people together, to give people exposition on what you need to know.
Exactly.
Right? And referencing X-Men 97, they do that, I think, at that last episode where there's looting in New York, and Spider-Man and Mary Jane from the animated Spider-Man series are shown. Watching
Daredevil.
Daredevil stops Looter, I think, by punch him through a window or something. But then it shows Mary Jane and Peter Parker stopping in front of a TV in a window to see the news of what's happening.
Yes. Man, I got to watch that show again.
Man, what are we doing? We should just put that on right now.
Yes, we should. Way you talk, lady. Genosha's the answer to everybody's prayers. And who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe this is the wave of the future. But it'd be better if you trusted people with the whole story. Garbage truck with plastic man in it. Mutant at the wheel.
Hey, stupid Gene joke. Watch it with that hose. You got me wet.
Accident, boss. Apologies.
Not good enough, mute. And it's supposed to be muty.
No, they call them mute this whole issue.
Mute. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Not good enough, mute.
Give it a rest, tire.
It's tear.
I like to pronounce it tire.
Not till I get satisfaction. Teach this mute a proper lesson. Clean this up, boy, every scrap. Or I'll cite you for failure to perform your assigned job task function.
Do my work good, boss. You watch, you see, make you proud. I'd rather make them bleed.
You and me both, partner. Nice piece of work, those magistrates.
Careful, it's Carol Danvers.
Oh, that's right.
Just reminding you.
That's right. You and me both, partner. Nice piece of work, those magistrates.
She sounds a lot like Cyclops.
Take a drink.
David says Genosha Public TV might be all looping propaganda. That's how I'm going with it too. I think would be getting propaganda channel, and it works to me. Anthony says, "Hey man, how you doing? By the way, maybe Genosha's propaganda channel is like their version of PBS TVO. Are you suggesting that PBS and TVO aren't propaganda?"
What are you saying?
Yeah, Joel says Genosha 1988. Big Brother's watching you. Kind of made Jubilee homage to Dazzler. Oh, we're talking about the episode of the show. Gotcha. We'll get to that some more as we get through things and get back to the cartoon. For sure. You ain't half bad yourself, Ace. Nothing like being inconspicuous.
Basic tradecraft, Wolvie. I don't mind being remembered. The trick is making certain nobody looks at my face.
That outfit'll do that, or do it, guaranteed.
I'm so glad you approve. Watch my back, chum.
I wouldn't have it any other way. So the fact that this is in silhouette, the character's in silhouette there, that looks like Leonardi to me.
Right.
You know? But then look at the shadow behind Rogue in the panel before, and it's so over-rendered. Like there are all these little tips.
It's almost like it looks like there's paint on the wall behind.
Right. It draws your eye there. It actually, your eye's looking at every little piece instead of just kind of ignoring it, letting it push back. And I feel like this is where Leonardi might have used, perhaps, and I don't know for certain, might have used the side of his pencil and just gone from like a darker to a lighter broad stroke with a pencil. And then Austin is interpreting those strokes through hatching. And it just isn't the typical thing that like Dan Green would do, or maybe that Leonardi normally would have. It breaks up that image instead of creating more flow. And then you look at the face on the top left, panel 1 on page 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wolverine's mouth is not reading correctly. It didn't translate properly. His face is way too flat a plane. It like just something got lost in the translation between pencils to inks.
He looks like his face has literally been punched in.
Yeah, he looks like he's had some significant surgery on his upper half of his mouth. Yeah, it's like collapsed and stuff. So sometimes they just don't mesh as a pair to my eye. But again, your mileage may vary. Yeah. Allie says she also loved that Wolverine had nicknames for each of his buddies. As the Kid, Red, Ace. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. There we go. Okay, let's keep going with this. Gotta hand it to her. The lady has style.
Be still my heart.
Outrageous.
I think I'm in love.
Rogue's got the brass for this kind of caper, but Carol Danvers has the experience to pull it off. This once, it's an asset. Rogue's a dual personality, and she's turned over operational control of her body to Carol. Ace is a world-class agent, and best of all for us, especially in this mess, she and I used to be a team. So that thing, for those of you who are too young to know, the thing she's leaning on over in the corner, that's a jukebox.
Ooh, what did it do, Jason?
It had small vinyl discs in it, and each of these vinyl discs had pressed into them grooves. And if you put a needle into the groove and ran it at a particular speed, 45 RPMs, I believe, it would play a song that would come out a speaker. So, yeah. Did you ever get to play with the jukebox? Oh yeah. Fun. So I had my next door neighbors growing up. They had a jukebox in their basement and a pool table, and it was the best place to hang out at the Carling's house next door and listen to those old 45s on the jukebox. And it was fun to play with. And they had songs that were oldies. So even for us in the early 80s, the songs were old. Things like Splish Splash by Bobby Darin.
And Wipeout.
And She Loves You by the Beatles.
That's right. It's like that great Simpsons joke where he talks about oldies and says, "What's wrong with oldies? Can you get us some new oldies? It's always the same oldies." I think Carl says that as part of a talk show.
Joel wants to know what songs we think we're playing on the jukebox.
Genosha, like what was a hit in Genosha in 1988? It's going to be 1988. Okay.
But it's got to be oldies, and I'm of course going to say it has to be something that is.
It's got to be like the South African Beatles from the '60s. Like who is that?
Oh gosh, the Bee Gees.
You know, there you go. It might be the Bee Gees.
It would be Bee Gees, or it could be at this point.
What was the?
Is it called? Hold on, let me just.
What was the Eric Idle Beatles?
The Ruddles.
The Ruddles. Maybe it's the Ruddles.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's Back on the Chain Gang by the Pretenders.
Or let's go other comic fictional bands. It's the version of Spinal Tap in the 60s. Listen to the Flower People.
Sure. I mean, it could also be something modern because the jukebox isn't always oldies. It could be a Layla Cheney.
It could be good call. It could be Layla Cheney.
And why not?
Why not?
Yeah, Joel says "Shiny Happy People." I think is that too soon for "Shiny Happy People" or maybe not.
I've lost track. That's on it's on the Out of Time record.
Yeah, I think that's maybe early 90, 91, right there. Oh, Man at Work. Nice. Ace of, too soon for Ace of Base. And by the way, I hate you for mentioning Ace of Base. There you go. Jason says Dazzler, of course. There you go. Dazzler, of course. There you go.
That's right.
Of course. That's why I said Layla Cheney. That's perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Speaking of music.
Oh, I wanted to actually go through this with you.
Did you?
And see how many of these you had.
Oh.
So you could get, look at this, 12 hot hits for a cool penny.
Cassettes or records, but you got to pay more for the CDs, right?
Okay, in any form.
Yeah.
We can just go with the photos if you want, because we could go through the whole thing, but I think that'd be unfair to everybody else. In just the photos there, which ones of these did you have in the house that you know of? So first is David Lee Roth Skyscraper.
Yeah. Was
that something you guys had?
No.
Same.
No.
Michael Jackson Bad, I absolutely had this tape.
I'm pretty sure there was a copy in the home. Yeah.
Terrence Trent D'Arby.
Did
you know this?
Oh yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, no, we didn't have it in the house.
I didn't have it either. In Excess Kick.
Possibly.
Okay, my friend Paul had it, and I remember I did listen to it, but I never owned this one.
Sure. Springsteen
Tunnel of Love, I still have.
I wish we had it in the house, but I didn't.
You want me to loan it to you?
No, it's go ahead and get it.
I'm quite the Springsteen fan, especially
yeah.
Those 2 decades. Well, and the 90s as well. Aerosmith, Permanent Vacation.
No, did not have this in the house.
So I had the album after, which is Pump. I did not get Permanent Vacation.
Sure, and Pump's got
Love in an Elevator.
Love in an Elevator. Yeah, that's right. Come on.
That was my first CD.
That was your first CD?
When I made the transition from cassette to CD, the first one I went and spent my hard-earned money on was Aerosmith Pump.
Okay.
Once I heard Janie's Got a Gun, I'm like, oh, this is the real deal.
This is it. This is my band. Okay.
No. I never said this is my band. Take that back. But I thought I had in the early days of getting CDs because it was expensive for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a policy for self-control that there had to be 3 songs on it already that I knew and liked.
Okay.
And so with Aerosmith Pump, there were already 3 songs that I knew and liked. And so I could justify spending my $12.99 or whatever it was to get it. Yeah.
My first CD was REM's Eponymous, which is a collection of their IRS recordings. You
are such a little hipster as a kid.
I was but anyways, I remember that. But the first cassette I bought, I still remember this going to the A&A Records in Don Mills Mall in Toronto. All these references I know, Jason, that you will appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Depeche Mode's People Are People. That was the first cassette tape I got. I think I was about 8 or 9. Wearing my leather.
Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of being a little younger, so there's also the George Michael record there.
Yeah. I mean,
Faith. And I did in 1988 buy the 45 of the song Faith.
Sure. Sure.
That would have been in the jukebox of my life in that moment. No,
I'm loving the chat right now. It's just everyone is just sharing memories or like things that were in their parents' collections.
For sure.
This is great.
Belinda Carlisle. Nice. I actually heard Belinda Carlisle on the radio today.
This is great.
She was such a babe.
She was, yeah.
When you turn the page, there's more.
There's more. You ready for this? Here we go. There's more. Okay, so 4 more records.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner Live, I did not have.
Did not have.
Sade, I did not have.
Did not have.
Robert Plant, Now and Zen, I did not have.
Did not have.
I wasn't into Zeppelin until 89.
Okay.
And then
Hall & Oates.
I did not have this one, but I did have Hall & Oates and like, I don't know which Motown guys were in like a live performance that I had stolen from my dad's cassette collection. There was like Hall & Oates sing Motown, or I don't know what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hold on, Allie. You said Amy Mann. Oh, Joel says till Tuesday. Voices carry. Dude.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so now I have to mention, since Amy Mann has come up, if you have like singer-songwriter, interesting kind of indie alt taste in music, and one does not listen to Amy Mann's records, you're really missing out. Her, I'm not going to be great with the years, but whatever is like maybe a mid 90s or 93.
That's just what you are on it, isn't it?
Yes, one of those records
from that one. Yeah,
there's like 2 or 3 from just getting into the 90s, and as we get up to Bachelor number 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it is like Bachelor number 2 is one of the best records you're going to hear anytime if you listen to records. Like, it's phenomenal. Yeah, I love her stuff. Totally. I'm going to go listen to Amy Mann right now.
Yeah, seriously, great job, chat. Wonderful.
Yeah, good job. Amy Mann is awesome. All right, we could do that all day. We'll see if we can do this again next week.
Oh, please. This is one of the great, both unknowns and unexpected joys of going through these comics are the ads, and we get stuck on a lot of them because they're obviously of their time, but they are so evocative for so many of us being kids or young teens or whatever in that time period and having access to these things. So,
okay, I have good news and bad news.
Oh, okay. I'll take the bad news.
The bad news is it's the exact same ad of the next issue with the same albums.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah. The good news is there's more of this coming next week. The bad news is it's all the same records.
We'll do it again, folks.
Or we can go deeper. We can like take row 1.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm looking at this right now. I gotta get my eyes off this. It's gonna okay.
Alarms out for us. The ID we took with these magistrate uniforms has got to be red flagged by now. We have to get replacements. A great band, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Lay as many false trails as possible. Buy us time to survive. Till the rest of the X-Men catch up with us. Trouble at the bar. I said, youngster, you've had enough.
You heard the man. Bar's closed for you.
This is our place, Civvy. You want to get stinking? Find somewhere else.
I'll drink where I please. You rotten magistrates can't tell me what to do.
Kid's totally suicidal, but a godsend. Yo, bub.
Was it?
Hope this hurts. Hey, everybody. Fight.
By the way, I love how Wolverine's punch like lifted him up too. Like he's, lifted up and back. It's a great knockout punch.
Oh yeah. Wolverine is the real deal.
Real deal.
Yeah, he can throw quite a mean punch. Never fails. And in the chaos, nobody will notice me. Picking every pocket I can get my hands on.
You start this?
Seemed like the thing to do.
I love it.
Me too. Sorry.
I have a handful.
Oh, a little to the right, please. A handful. Haven't heard those words in a long time. Me too. Let's call it a night. When these clowns realize they've lost their wallets, they'll figure it happened here in the fight. Given the nature of cops and their bureaucracies, it'll be a while before the losses are even reported, much less processed. With a little luck, they'll never connect this with us.
Wolvie, someone's on our tail. My mistake. It's nothing to do with us.
That's the kid who threw the first punch. Paying for it, too.
Figure he's had enough.
I sure haven't.
A nice way his pater's been ragging the chief. Hey ho, mates. Know who we got here? Oh, sorry, that's opposite. Should be. This is the Engineer's son.
No fooling.
A nice way his pater's been ragging the chief.
Like pop, like punk. Neither of them has any proper respect for us magistrates or the work we do. Idea, mates. Fits the bill right perfect.
Uh-oh. Meg has that gleam in her eye. Certain trouble, and that's a fact.
So what's the score?
Mute train leaves soon. I say put this brat aboard. Mute train?
Yeah, it's in Muty.
Yeah.
So this panel, where it's Wolverine crouched and Rogue Carol Danvers leaning over him. See the texture on that concrete wall?
Yeah.
So that's a screen that Terry Austin would put down. And then he's rendered all that shadow with good streaks, and there are a few razor blade cuts through. He takes his razor blade and drags it along to help create that light to dark thing. So that looks to me like the way he would handle a John Byrne panel back in the day. And it looks great. It's like a really finished, it worked really well with those techniques he's used. Sometimes his technique I find works great. Other times I don't find it fits. But this one, it worked really well.
Mm-hmm. Mute train?
Oh, is that why you said it like that before?
I said it, yeah.
I'm busy explaining it to you, but you're only reading the character's dialogue.
Jeez!
And just send me a good slap across the face with the computer. Could be nothing, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Kid dealt himself this hand.
I know. It's none of our business. Yeah, chalk it up to curiosity, Ace, and a hunch.
Okay. Let's tail him.
Oh, don't do it. Just keep moving. We'll be here all night.
Yeah, exactly.
Central Station, mutants only platform. Look at that train. Just like the garbage truck. Mutant driver, slave. Linked to the cars, but where's the engine?
Could he be the power source as well?
No, it's Wolverine. Okay, because he speaks with the O instead of of. There's the kid. They got him in one of those mutant skin suits.
You know, Tam, he rides the end of the line. He'll never come back.
No great loss to the gene pool, you ask me. Train's rolling. Jump for it.
Brad will be tagged at the scan yard and sent home. Oh, that's there, guys. Brad will be tagged at the scan yard and sent home with a good scare that'll serve him and his pater both right.
Pater being, of course, a Germanic version of the word father.
That's right. And what does Lego Robin call Lego Batman Pater? No.
Or does he call him Papa?
He calls him Papa.
I am, by the way, due for a rewatch of the Lego Batman movie. My youngest, my daughter Olivia, and I just finished finally the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, hey, we did that this past Christmas too with my kids. Cool.
And she doesn't remember that the Eye of Sauron is one of the villains.
Oh, Eye of Sauron is great in the Lego movie.
So I want to go back just so we can watch the Eye of Sauron in the Batman Lego movie. The Lego Batman.
It zaps right? Then it slowly fades out, right? Who does it zap?
It's just so expressive.
Kraken or something, and then it it steps away.
Actually, depending on where she's at when we finish, I might do that with her tonight. She's been asking me during the day. Cool to see the driver. Unfortunate, poor dude. But he's got the Kirby crackle coming out of his like fists or his arms into some sort of processor in the front of that train, like just energy flowing into that thing right from that poor person. Mm-hmm. But interesting. Does my daughter play Elden Rings on PS or Xbox? It's like Lord of the Rings. Not that I know of. I do not think she plays that game, but she'd probably be interested in some way. Train's going too fast. Can't get a decent grip. Going over.
Logan, hold on. I have you. I'll pull you up.
Should be able do it myself.
That's what partners are for. To compensate weaknesses as well as complement strengths.
I can't hack it, Ace.
Then I will, chum, for both of us.
So take a look at the bottom tier first panel where Wolverine is flying over the edge.
Right.
This is essentially the image we're getting on the cover.
Sure.
And they're both wearing two different greens. That works. She's got her kind of reddish brown hair. We don't really get to see much of his hair there. But see the difference between the train and the ground? It's just a color difference is all you really needed. And the sky being black with some, that cyan is like the trees in the distance. It works. And you can light that elaborately with some nuance on the cover. But this cover just does it completely different. And I would have loved if I found the original art and have just recolored it for this video. But I didn't find the original art, so I didn't recolor it.
Okay.
But also, who's got time for that?
Not us.
Not us. It's pronounced Citadel? No. Citadel. The Citadel. Engineer Mutant 9817 as per your request.
Uncle David?
Hello, Jennifer. Won't you sit down?
Please. Why am I here?
There's freshly brewed tea, and those cakes are quite delicious. You're here because all the citizens have a duty to the state.
No, Uncle David. No. There's been an awful mistake. I tested normal on my genetic exam.
I'm sorry, Jenny. You tested positive. Your father abused his position in the government by switching your results with another girl's. She paid for that action with her life.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I beg you, child, try to understand. I know this isn't your fault. That you view what's happening as some horrible, unspeakable fate worse than death. But without such gifted people as yourself, how else could you think Genosha can maintain its standard of living or even survive?
It isn't fair. Why me?
It isn't fair, Jennifer, that this island is one of the most inhospitable rocks on the planet. However, through our God-given intelligence and talent and skill, and yes, sacrifice, we've made Genosha a paradise on Earth. I'm just looking at the comments here because there's a lot that's happened. Other than making
Are we still talking about CDs?
For skimming over stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Joel says Wolverine and Rogue could tear up Genosha with their powers. For sure. Of course, they don't have them. They were taken away 2 issues ago, I believe, by the press gang.
Wipeout.
That's right, Wipeout. As they passed through the press gang, sent them to Genosha, and they had their powers wiped out. Allie says, since Carol took over, Rogue's actual mutant power isn't at the forefront. She doesn't have her touch power in this issue. There you go. That's 2 Wipeout. Wolverine could take care of him like he did Harry Leland. Ooh, in the Dark Phoenix saga. Yeah. He's got to get close, though. He took a pretty good beating.
It'd be better if Wipeout, when he used his power, did that. Wipeout.
No, that would make me insane.
Wouldn't it?
Much like you are doing as we...
No.
You have a responsibility to the community that bore and nurtured you, and a debt to the child who died in your place.
But how can I be a mutant? I have no powers.
Not active, not yet. Yours is a latent gift, and mine the ability to waken it. In fact, the process has already begun. You needn't worry, though. You'll be cared for, well-fed, well-housed. Most of the world's population would probably kill just for such a life.
It's slavery.
Jennifer, ours is a nation of 10 million, almost totally dependent for its welfare on the work of a few hundred superpowered mutants. Without them, we are nothing. Indeed, their power is sufficient to destroy us. That's why we have to impose such strict controls. Not slavery, child. Self-defense.
Does Philip know? Does he understand?
He is my son. Believe me, this is as hard for me as for you.
Will I at least still be a nurse?
Your progeny will be exceptional healers. I'll see to that. But I'm afraid your talents must be oriented in other directions. Excuse me.
G-Engineer, we're about to initiate in-depth psi scans on mutant 24601. I mean 9818.
981. I'll be there directly. I'm truly sorry, Jenny. I so look forward to becoming to you. Sorry. I so look forward to your becoming my daughter-in-law. Technos, please collect Mutant 9817 from my office for final processing. Terrible.
Terrible.
Her costume does go through a little bit of a... Well, that's a different mutant, I guess. There's like a change in the color and the...
Yeah, well, this is, I think...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
Okay.
Sonic's Examination Lab.
We're bonding the skin suit to your flesh. In effect, it becomes your skin. It's done with all mutes, so they can be instantly recognized as such.
Moreover, it protects you from the elements and injury. It's completely self-contained. Is that... No, it's okay. It's completely self-contained, totally reprocessing all bodily waste. Gross. A marvel, wink, of engineering, really.
I'm sure, but if this is a sealed system, what about children? Mutes don't have any in the traditional way. G-Engineer extracts your genetic material, mixes and matches it with others to create the required biological synthesis. Babies are decanted like a fine Bordeaux right down the hall. Don't fret, though. When we're through, you won't miss kids, and we'll have a case of fine Bordeaux wine or anything else.
How deeply must I probe?
Chief Magistrate and G-Engineer want everything you can get. Stay out of my mind, telepath.
If you resist, there will be pain.
I don't care. I'm warning you, leave me alone.
I'm now looking at the... Okay. Hey, remember these guys?
Oh, yeah, right. Isn't this comic about these guys? Cool.
Elsewhere on the island, guess who's finally arrived?
Welcome to Genosha, X-Men, and thank you, Gateway, for a wonderful ride.
How can you tell, Dazzler? I can't tell sarcasm. Isn't the teleport instantaneous?
That was sarcasm, long shot.
Oh.
Our lightning gale's in a crabby mood.
Captain, look!
I am not Havoc. I just... Comrades, they wear similar uniforms. Do the jokers we tangled with in Sydney?
I think that's Havoc, but yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, there you go.
It doesn't matter. It's all good. Captain, you see
the Colossus' voice. Havoc is Dean Colossus. That's all.
Yes.
Yes.
Captain, I see them, but they don't register on any of our sensors.
Mutants, then, armed with a cloaking device. Best take no chances. Open fire.
A similar attitude as well.
Then we shall deal with them the same way. Colossus, provide a shield for the others, while I manifest a hurricane wind to sweep the soldiers off their feet and cover the X-Men's counterattack. Why'd you start shooting? You didn't give us a chance to say hello or explain anything.
We're magistrates, Gene Joke.
There's that nasty word again.
We don't spy in the likes of whoa. Evic, these men have no further need of the vehicle. Would you care to dispose of it? My pleasure, big guy. Hey, fellas, I love Snappy Patter as much as anyone, but these bozos mean business.
Scatter! Make for the bush. Try to reach a foe and call for reinforcements. Apologies, chaps. This is as far as you get. My telepathic shock bolt has put this lot down for the count, Storm.
I'm strobing so brightly. They're stopped dead in their tracks, even closing their eyes. Won't keep them from being dazzled. Perfect setup, sweetie, for you to finish them off. But now we've beat them. What do we do with them?
Do we take prisoners?
It is not that simple. They are not criminals, but policemen, enforcing the laws of their country.
We cannot afford witnesses to our arrival.
Does that mean we kill them? Please tell me to kill them, Storm. Please.
I want to snap.
I want to snap next, Storm. Please.
I'm addicted to the cracking sound. No, old friend. Psylocke, probe their minds for any information which may prove useful before Colossus gets a hankering for crunching bones. Then scramble their memories of us. As good as done, Storm. They all possess rudimentary psi screens. Take me a moment to bypass. Ah!
Engineer, this way, sir.
What is it? Who sounded the alarm?
Automatic system, sir. Triggered from the psionic section. Better stay behind me, sir. For your own safety.
Someone shut off that bloody bell. I can't think for the noise.
No response from inside, sir. Communications and telemetry systems dysfunctional.
Kick the door, then.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's a good panel.
It is. I love those the glasses, the like the eyes, the glasses, the white on the black silhouette. It's great. Okay, so looks like there's some dead people here, including the telepath.
Yeah, the empath.
Yeah. Okay.
Mass says, by the way, he needs more Dark Colossus.
Please let me kill.
Yeah, do you have any idea, like, who did that?
Okay, so remember they captured Madeline, but this wouldn't be Madeline going.
Okay,
is that what it is? Because she was asking about, like, can I have kids? So was she brain, like, you know what I mean? I didn't expect that to be the. But is this supposed to be Madeline?
I don't have an answer for you. I'm digging it. I like that. I don't know.
Okay, there you go.
Like, we actually have to kind of read to find out what happened. That's kind of cool. Elsewhere, awful, beyond belief, psychic shockwave of unimaginable power. Heaven help anyone in close proximity to the source. Never since such ultimate terror or rage. Like being cast into the molten heart of a star. Elizabeth, what was the source? I don't know. Shielded from me. And truthfully, Aurora, I'm not at all certain I want to find out.
Ooh.
Matters to You is talking about Psylocke's hood. I look at the inaccuracy on 25. Solak has hair, but on page 24, she's wearing a hood and skin cap.
Oh,
I'm looking on 24 and I don't see the skin cap anywhere. I see a mask in that like hood style, but she's got purple hair underneath. So I see like one panel where I can see her hair poking through on 24, and one panel where I see they've miscolored her hair flesh. But then on 25, she's taken the hood back and all of her hair is coming out. It's a little, it's not that consistent to design, but she's supposed to be wearing a hood with her hair open underneath the hood with that open-topped mask. That makes sense. The Mute Train. Entering the foothills of the Ridgeback Range. The mountains that form a wall across the width of the island.
that mutant driver's generating some serious speed. Without our powers, we haven't a prayer of surviving if we jump. I'm afraid, partner, we're aboard for the duration.
Calculated risk, Ace. We knew that from the start. We'll just have to keep pushing our luck for all it's worth. And hope the clowns at the end of the line accept us at face value. Meantime, let's get inside.
Logan, your hand, you're bleeding.
No power, no healing factor. Normally seals the wound, opened by the claws, as soon as it's made. Thanks for the bandage.
You've done as much and more for me. We're running out of time. He's visibly weakening by the hour. If Wolvie's powers aren't restored, he'll die.
This profile on the other side there of Gregory Wright with his awesome 80s hair. He is the first colorist who I was aware of in the industry. He was coloring Punisher War Journal, and I was really digging how those colors looked. But they were on different paper, so they had an advantage of hypersaturation. But I remember enjoying Gregory Wright colors as a youngster, thinking I knew it how it all worked. It was his name has been on my mind a long time.
They're cringing.
Put yourself in their skins, Ace, in their eyes. How would you react?
Look at their eyes. They hate us.
What do you expect? They're slaves. We're the ones who wield the whip.
We maybe help, boss.
No thanks, no problem.
Here's the boy.
We found who we came for.
The magistrate switched his clothes for a mutant skin suit. It's still cloth, though. Hasn't been through the bonding process. It can be removed.
This is our train, boss.
We don't want any trouble.
Not your place. Why you not leave us be? Appears to me, Ace, the engineer's hotshot conditioning process ain't what it's cracked up to be.
Great. And what do we do about it?
Mutants! Stand where you are.
That light.
Feel, Ace? Train stopping. Step aside, Gene Jokes. Quickly now.
You dare threaten somebody else?
Oh, you can be that dude. It's fine. It's the dude in the hat at the front of that grouping. It's
Is
just poorly lettered.
Oh, okay. You dare threaten a magistrate?
Boss, no.
Be cool, guys. Everything's under control. Let us explain.
Outside, mutes. A lot of you move.
You're luckier than you deserve, you two. Why do you think the directives forbid riding the M special in any less than squad strength?
Look at the beating in the back.
Yeah.
Those lines
Yeah.
that Oss is doing kind of, they create a bit of motion and make me think of debris coming up off those people.
Totally.
Like face blood and stuff.
Yeah.
Poor people.
We had good reason. This is the Engineer's son. Someone dressed him as a mutant and dumped him on board. That's the...
I think it's the guy that she was talking to.
Philip Moreau, eh? A bit awkward, this. Better take him through to the camp. Let upper echelon deal with it. Why not simply send the boy home? Normally, an intruder gets this far. This is home. But if he really is who you say, there'll be the devil to pay. And I want no part of it. The magistrates represent the law. You don't ever raise your eyes to us, much less your hands. Partner?
I'll manage. Just get us the devil out of here.
That's game guy. You're bred to serve, Gene Joke. Understand, when humans command, you obey. You all right, Logan?
Nope.
We'll come through this caper fine, partner. You'll see.
Doesn't matter. Don't care.
Well, what's eating you then?
Before I die, Ace, I'm gonna make some changes here. By all I hold holy, I swear, I'm gonna bring this flaming country down. In 2 weeks, the conclusion. Gonna be a revolution.
And all we want to see are Rogue and Wolverine get their powers back.
And just kill
and
everybody.
Just go through. And of course, Dark Colossus. We also want to.
We want to see more Dark Colossus.
Yeah.
I posed this question in the beginning, on the thumbnail for the video. Is this too dark for an X-Men comic? In, again, the context of 1988, we are, Claremont is pulling from some significant world events in the 1800s and world history and 1900s. In 1988, it's 43 years since Germany surrenders completely at the end of World War II. Mm-hmm. 43 years. He is of Jewish ancestry, born in England. His family went through the Blitzkrieg. He probably has extended family one way or the other that experienced something to do with the Holocaust in one direction or another. It, as a world event, it left a really big imprint on the 20th century.
Sure.
Just for conversation's sake, 43 years ago from now, from 2025, it's 1982. And I still think about things that happened, in that time period. For instance, the biggest movie of 1982 was E.T.
Okay.
And go with me on this for a second. Sometimes when I'm looking at something that is like so emotionally massive, I find something that is a little bit trivial or trite. And if something as simple and mundane as a movie like E.T., which is just a movie, still can bring me to tears 43 years later. And it's just a movie. I'm trying to imagine what these kinds of world events must have been like for generations of people in the 20th century, 43 years later. It's still this huge thing. My question is, given that it is these massive, not just the Holocaust, not just, of course, like the slavery that helps build America and many other nations, like, is this the right place to have this conversation? Like, we're talking about 4-color comics for, let's just say, 10 to 15-year-old, generally speaking, boys in 1988. Like, is it too heavy for this format? Or, like, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer there, but I'm putting that question out there.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe this isn't the best place to, or maybe it is. Maybe it's like a way in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, one side, like maybe it's a pathway. It's a gateway. It's an opportunity for people to access some of these more difficult histories and traumatic moments through the lens of a comic book. And maybe that leads to more discussion and conversation and things, right?
Sure.
Like, I think it's important that, there's multiple avenues that can be employed to enable learning, right? I think
and conversation,
right? So And given what we've gone through with the X-Men as a, as an other, as mutants being an other throughout the entire publication history that we're looking at, certainly. I mean, it feels, I mean, the jump to Genosha and what they're experiencing with Genosha feels like a level up in terms of content. Like, I mean, we've dealt with villainy before, right? We've dealt with whether it's the Brood, Sleazoids, or whether it's Hellfire Club, or but they all came with comic booky kind of real had a real flavor to them that was really the realm of the amazing, or the realm of the fantastical, right?
Right.
And this is something different, because it's speaking to, just your point, touching upon events that people either live through, have generations that are continuing to have traumatic experiences related to, challenging histories that still document and define, who we are and what the world does in 2025. So, like, is a comic book a good place for it? I mean, it's a place for it, for sure. And it's another avenue, it's another pathway.
Right. Given that stories have been often described as empathy machines, right?
Right.
The sooner we get people thinking about, talking about, and putting themselves in other people's shoes for heavy situations, maybe the sooner people will think twice before sending our nations down these roads where we're valuing people differently based on where they come from and what DNA they have, and all those kinds of differences that are not necessarily value differences, but just differences on their own.
Yeah.
Definitely there was a change in the commercial, like there's a change in the market and what's selling in comics in this time period, as Mass is noting. Like, as we get into the 80s, we're getting, don't forget, comics in the West were kind of had weights around their ankles for a long time with the Comics Code. By the way, why are we always celebrating that Comics Code Authority logo? It is like a logo of tyranny. It's not a good thing. It shouldn't be front and center, like nostalgic. Oh, I remember when there was fascism in comics. Like, no. This shouldn't be a thing we're celebrating. But anyway, the West, the comics were weighted down, weren't able to discuss a lot of contemporary social issues and relevant social issues partway through the 50s, 60s, 70s, until the Comics Code backed down to some degree, and eventually Marvel stopped using it altogether. And it just means that, like, those, like, allowing the mainstream medium to grow up and go with older readers, it just took a lot longer. So maybe Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen and other books of the sort, it's now 2 years after Mouse comes out, and that is Pulitzer Prize winning Mouse, right? So, like, the audience is maybe ready for some more serious matter. We're aging up as we're getting closer to Image. We're getting obviously the more of the over-the-top gun and Strike Force stuff, the hyper-violent, as we're getting into the extreme 90s. So, like, it's trending in that direction anyway. But it is like an opportunity to kind of hit with those social issues that the X-Men are ideally suited for as a framework.
Sure.
So I do find it evocative to read some of these things about slavery and about slave trains taking, mutants to their final destination of sorts. That is heavy stuff. The sexual assault that occurs for Rogue in the past issue is heavy.
Yeah. And I think from the one thing that we want, I think, matters is that, like, the subject matter is not used then as a, if you're going to go heavy, if you're going to bring in some serious topics, then don't, 2 issues later, as part of the comic book cycle, suddenly, like, drop it all or move on to something that, or never reference these things again, right? Like, I think that's more what we were talking about earlier with
Rogue and the Assault.
Yeah, that was the first time I've heard of that with Rogue. Not that I know much moving forward, but it's like, oh, this is actually part of the character's. No, this is like a major moment in this character's trajectory. So why don't we know more about this in that particular iteration?
Well, you and I are going to discover in our version of Real Time, week to week, if Claremont makes use of this as a meaningful moment in her life, or if it was just a plot point to get a narrative device to get Carol Danvers into the forefront. We'll see, and we can save our judgment for the end of Claremont's run. Maybe he intended to do with it at 100 issues. Who knows? We'll find out as we go. So that's an interesting thing to think about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to see if that. Oh, good, that worked. Is there anything about this issue you still want to discuss?
No, I think I'm okay. I think I think we covered everything. Yeah.
Cool. Good to note. So we talked about that title. I don't think it was too dark for X-Men for the time period. I remember as a 13-year-old catching the idea that slavery is bad. I knew already.
Sure.
And I didn't have a lot of experiences reading content or watching things where there was slaves in any kind of meaningful. Like it needed to be as much as possible. Truthfully, I could have had a lot more to get to that place of meaningful empathy as soon as I become an adult. As soon as I'm emotionally, physically capable of managing that stuff. Next week, yes, we get to read the final chapter of this 4-part Genosha story with the return of Mark Silvestri and Dan Green as we read issue 238. And if I remember correctly, one of us, my band's got a gig at the Cameron House, dude.
Cameron House?
We need to, and I'm
in Toronto, folks. That's in downtown Toronto, the big city of Canada.
What? That Queen and Spadina in downtown. Monday night, of course, I have rehearsal, so we have to find a time that isn't Monday night to record our episode that we'll still release on Tuesday night, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, it's always fun. Yeah.
All right, so we'll make that happen.
And hey, by the looks of that cover, it looks like 2 of our characters have their powers back, and maybe even an appearance by Dark Colossus, who as of tonight is our new favorite character.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to that. So that's next week. In addition, I'm happy to announce, just for fun, there's a new show on the channel coming out at the end of this week.
Nice.
I'm just waiting for some notes back, but the show is ready to go. It's already uploaded. It's put together. Leveling Up is a new show that will be premiering at the end of this week, where I'll be looking at a new comic each episode to see what I can learn as I work toward leveling up. And of course, the first episode will be about Superman's secret power, just in time for the new movie, Superman's Secret Power, where I'll be looking at some Darwin Cook, Batman versus Superman content, talking about Darwin Cook's capacity to create a meaningful version of Superman and an element of Superman that is worth talking about. Go ahead, Chris. What are you going to say?
No, I was going to say I'll let the video go. And what is Superman's secret power? And I was going to say something. No, you know what? No, it's okay. We're going to let people. No, because it's a funny thing to say, but it's also kind of like true. So I don't want to ruin. I don't want to ruin it. Don't spoil.
Okay. I'm happy to tease it out a little bit. It's not a literal part of his power set, but Cook has a take on Superman.
Yeah.
He has an artistic take on the way the character should look, and he also has a character attribute, which is, I would say, something that makes him more powerful, especially with Cook's broader thesis about like all the heroes needing to work together. Mm-hmm. And to do that, everyone has to make a sacrifice. If you're going to work together, you have to give something as well as take. And in that one, Batman is taking a punch.
Sure is. Normally that would punch his head right off, but you know what? We're not going to talk about that. Not going to talk about that.
Anyway, at the end of this week, probably Friday morning, I think it will premiere Leveling Up, a new show on the Group of 7 Comics channel. So hopefully you all tune in to watch that and you enjoy it.
Nice. And I'm gonna say just because we're in the same city, Mass. Are you seeing Morello in Guelph? Because he's playing here in Guelph, but I think it might be in the fall. And if if you haven't left already, but I know we'll connect offline anyway. But that's really cool. You're taking your kids to go see Morello. I'm sure it'll be a blast.
There you go. Neat.
There you go. I just want to put that out there. There you go.
And Mass, you said my Geek Shop episode seems like I need a part 2. Hey man, I'm always open. To that kind of stuff.
No, not well.
And that brings us to the end of another episode. I'd like to say, of course, thank you to my good buddy Chris Sanigan, writer of not The Dark Knight Returns, but Group of 7 and A Secret Tale.
More importantly, those 2 books.
And Peregrines, Lights, Fiends, and Fisticuffs. Chris Sanigan, thank you for being with me tonight, Chris.
Thanks, bud. Always a pleasure.
You can find out more about our comics and upcoming appearances at group7comics.ca and follow us at Group of 7 Comics on social media. Please click like and subscribe and share with us your take on this issue or any X-Men issue in the comments below. Go dig out your old back issues, trade paperbacks, essentials, omnibuses, DVD-ROMs, or hop on an app and read along with us next week on Previously in X-Men. Thank you, bubs, and stay X-y. Good night, everybody. Hope you're well. See you next time.